So, Secret Weapon 9, then, Brett. Let's talk about Secret Weapon 9. I believe that you might have a bit of information that you can share with us, some whispers, some rumours, but it's probably all unknown at the moment because I think we're probably a few years off of Secret Weapon 9. But let's talk about it a little bit anyway. So, what could Secret Weapon 9 be at Alton Towers? And also, where could it go in the park? Because I'm thinking about it, I'm just thinking I can only think of the Spinball Wizard area, perhaps. And if so, it can only be something on a small footprint. So, what could Secret Weapon be, maybe? What do we think?
That's a good comment you made about Spinball. I don't know if anyone remembers back in like 2008, potentially 8 to 2010. Alton Towers released a 10-year plan that is probably finished now. But part of that plan was a relocation or removal of the Spinball Wizard site. So that's a good point. I think if they ever got rid of Spinball Wizard, however, it would be an expansion of CBB's land because of how well it's done. So I don't think that we'll see anything significant there, especially with it being so close to the towers and that kind of great kind of site as you come in through the bottom of Tower Street. I think that they will eventually, if they do get rid of Spinball, that'll be CBB's land, an expansion of. As for where SW9 could go, the main kind of rumor that's going around at the minute, and I don't remember for sure, I think that potentially someone somewhere saw a plan that suggested the car park by Air/Galactica. Right, so that would make it either an extension of Forbidden Valley or a new area in itself, kind of down that bottom end. I don't know if they would use the full car park. That's a massive space. However, the bottom half past, say, the Extraordinary Golf onwards, yeah, it's a good possibility. They've already got the entrance there, that side entrance that sometimes hotel guests use. That's already been done out recently as well, with signs coming from the hotel to the restaurant and stuff like that. So I think that it's a good place for SW9. As for what it'll be, who knows?
I would love. Oh, go on, Brian.
No, I was just going to say it has to be something. You know, Alton Towers always want to be the first, don't they, of something. I know Rita wasn't really a first, but you know, Rita wasn't really officially. It wasn't
Rita
really
wasn't a secret weapon.
No, it wasn't. So I think when Rita came in, wasn't that in between two, or was it one of the Two Swords developments, and they kind of dropped the secret weapon thing, and that's when Rita came in, and then the secret weapon thing came back, I think, when Merlin took over. I don't know, I might be making that up.
2006 was Rita, I believe.
Yes, I believe it was around
that
it
would have been the end of Two Swords days.
Yeah, and I think they kind of dropped the secret weapon thing, did Two Swords, and I think they had an opportunity to obviously install Rita, and I think they went for it. And on reflection, it was a good installment at the time. I know some people say, you know, it's not really, you know, fantastic, but I think there's a lot of people who really like it as well, and it is a really good attraction.
I love Rita.
Let's get this out of the way right now, and I feel like this deserves its own episode right here. Please stop saying, everyone out there watching this video, or anyone who's not watching this video, tell those people, we can't replace Rita with a launch coaster. It is one. Not going to do that.
Who wants to do that?
Everyone. It's literally all I see all over Facebook and all over forums is, I think we should get rid of Rita and put in an Intamin Blitz coaster. Okay, that would be better, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean that would be awesome, but Rita is a solid attraction. It's still relative, you know, it's still a pretty modern attraction. It works. It doesn't have loads of downtime. I think it's really solid. I can't see that going. That certainly won't be going for SW9 anyway. So, Sam, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, I absolutely love Rita. I know it's a bit of a love-hate Marmite situation, but I absolutely love Rita. I think it it has a nice punch at the beginning in terms of speed, some loving little sharp turns, much more enjoyable than stealth. I actually prefer it way over stealth, because I find stealth is just too short. You don't get much bang for your buck. So absolutely with the Rita fan club on that one. Also, in terms of SW9, okay, this is what I'd love to see, is some sort of indoor coaster. Now, I know like that can be kind of hard when it comes to the logistics of it, and you have to make it smaller, compact, and making it a world's first, you'd have to sort of put in some sort of different element or strange element that maybe hasn't been done either in the dark or inside, or something that makes it unique. But my reason for wanting an indoor coaster is because I think not only do I love them, and I think they have a certain amount of mystery to them, and you can go crazy with the theming and with the special effects. I wrote an article about it. You can check it out on my blog. But I think if they did put SW9 inside and it was like an indoor coaster, then it means that you could have that running 365, right? So it means that even when they did their Christmas event or their half-term events, or during their kind of semi-events during the closed kind of ish season, that they could keep it open and keep it running, and keep it more operational. If you look at parks like Disneyland Paris, the reason why a lot of the time they can run 365 is not because necessarily they're a Disney park, even though that's what all Disney parks do. It's because a lot of their stuff and the bulk of their things is inside, which means they're protected from the weather and any kind of sort of weathering issues. So really, I think if Alton Towers could make SW9 inside in some capacity, whether it be in the dark or otherwise, or heavily themed, an IP or an original concept, then I think that could go 10 times the length in terms of operational needs, in terms of how long it would be able to run without any kind of repairs or weathering issues. It would just, and you're in a controlled environment where if it's too hot, shove the AC on, and if it's raining, then you're undercover. I don't know, it just makes sense.
Yeah, and that would actually make a lot of sense if they were going to use the car park next to Air, because obviously it'd be pretty close to the hotel then. That would be the closest coaster to the hotel. So if it was going to be, a ride that could be used all year round, it'd make perfect sense for it to be there. It wouldn't make sense to, open an all year round roller coaster, say, over in X sector, because you'd have to have people kind of traipsing over the park. But if it was going to be, if it's going to be indoor, if it was going to be on that car park, what would the world's first be, though? There has to be a world's first, surely.
I mean, with Wicker Man, we saw a kind of, not really a world's first. We saw a step away from that, has to have a record-breaking ride of some sort. So actually, in a weird way, I think maybe that was the first step. Wicker Man was the first step to Secret Weapons just being really good, high-quality roller coasters, rather than, this has to have 15 loops this time. This has to have a faster launch than the last one. This has to have a steeper drop than the other one. So I think maybe it will kind of come away from that, because the only two we've had that aren't really complete world's first are Wicker Man and Nemesis. The rest have had kind of world's first or world's only or world's most tags to them. So yeah, it would be nice to see another one of those that isn't. However, it's very marketable to do so, which leads me to think that, are they potentially looking back to the good old days of what they used to do with B&M? And I don't know if anyone spotted this. There used to be, it was maybe mid last year, in a B&M factory, there was a sticker on the side of a piece of track or something that said Surf Coaster. I don't know if anyone saw this.
Wasn't this a hoax? I thought this was like...
We don't know. And then it went into loads of fake plans of stuff coming out. But that made me think of, does everyone remember the 4D coaster plans that B&M potentially had, which would have literally been a 4D wing coaster similar to the 4D coasters we see, like X2 and stuff. And I know for a fact that they have actually been trying to do that. They just haven't got round to it because B&M being B&M, they don't do anything until it's absolutely 100% the most reliable thing going. So with a load of extra work, maintenance, moving parts that are required for a 4D coaster, maybe Alton Towers would put some more money into looking into that concept. That would be interesting.
Could you imagine a 4D coaster, B&M, in the dark with like a ton of like rock and roller coaster, like flashing lights, like strobe lights as you're doing the flips, and you're just in the dark flying through with all these lights going around you? Oh, that'd be wicked.
The building would have to be the size of the thing that is in what's it called, the Truman Show.
Yes. A massive dome, a big warehouse.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like that would be a very significant investment, but it kind of feels like Alton Towers. I don't know if it's going to be a secret weapon. They can't go halfway, can they? It has to be. I mean, they never invest in, you know, the most expensive thing ever. You know, like Wicker Man is you know, it's good theming, but at the end of the day, it's a modest GCI. You know, the way you look at it, it's not a behemoth, is it really? You know, so it's interesting. I wonder if you know, B&M, you know, if B&M are working on something like that, then it may be a case of, well, look, we've got this concept, we've built up this you know, this track layout which we know is going to work, that's reasonably modest. We can do you a good deal on it, it's marketable, let's give it a go. And that's kind of like what Air is as well. Air was the prototype flying coaster, and that's why it's not the most thrilling flying coaster, because it doesn't have the pretzel loop, which was added later on. So yeah, I think that'd be really good. B&M 4D. In fact, it'd be a B&M 5D coaster. Because you'd get all the kind of extra, you know, spray and smoke and lights and effects, and maybe some 3D effects as well. So maybe it'd be the world's first 5D coaster.
Oh,
there you go. And I just think in those kind of dark, controlled environments, you can do so many cool things with like illuminated near misses, like as we talked about, strobe lights, smoke, special effects, and with everything being inside, I don't know, it always creates a massive element of mystery. Like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen when you get through that building? Like, what's the queue line going to be? You know, what's the pre-show going to be? You know what I mean? It's all like the moment everyone remembers the first moment when they went through into the Wicker Man pre-show for the first time, and everyone went, oh, wow. Because if you hadn't looked at spoilers,
I did avoid spoilers for the best part of a year, actually.
That was incredible. You know what I mean? And I just think, you know, we need more indoor experiences, because in this country, you can't rely on the weather.
Yeah. I do think the first part of the queue in Wicker Man is kind of like a garden centre. So, you know, it's almost like garden centre, the ride that then kind of starts to get a bit more serious as you kind of progress through the queue line.
God.
It's a bit like the Blackpool Pleasure Beach ad where the couple wanted to eat the cheese sandwiches and then they ended up getting on infusion by accident.
Oh,
and then,
yeah, that's one of the best adverts ever.
Wait, isn't that
cheese? Was that
advert?
Yeah.
Specsavers advert.
Oh, have you got a cheese one? And then he eats it and he goes, what sort of cheese was that?
Yeah, what sort of cheese? Yeah. So it could be the same. It could be someone's, you know, we're having a lovely day out. I want some potting plants, maybe a bag of compost, and then you end up on the Wicker Man. So, you know, it could happen. It could happen.
They do say it's pretty immersive, and if that's what they were going for, they nailed it, I guess.
I mean, garden centre the ride. Here we come.
Wow, that's it. You heard it here first, guys. Secret Weapon 9 is garden centre the ride.
Gardens and garden centres are allowed to be open during the current time, so it could be a bit of a loophole.
Goes back to the 365 thing as well. It can be 365 during COVID. Perfect.
Exactly. I think we've cracked the code on this one. Yeah,
that's
it. We have cracked the code. We have peered.
What if they put a garden centre, like an actual small little garden centre shop in like on the outskirts of the actual Towers gardens, right? Could they then technically open the gardens up, because it would technically be just a massive garden centre, even during COVID? What if they ran a shack and sold a couple of?
Or oh no, they're closed outside stuff as
well. Yeah, but what if they like opened up like a shack, put a shack in there, and was like, we're selling ice creams and wicker baskets. Like, we're a garden centre.
Well, they wouldn't be allowed to sell ice creams, but if it was legitimately, if it was legitimately a garden centre, then they could open it. It wouldn't be a problem at the moment. No. So we're giving them ideas, aren't we? We're giving them ideas.
Yeah, ideas for free.
I mean, we did have an idea back in April where we were waiting for Pleasure Beach to open, and we made a suggestion that perhaps the Pleasure Beach changes itself to a garden centre, and someone said, and the big one could be like a kind of monorail that goes around the garden centre.
It already is. Yeah.
but we all know that the big one isn't a monorail. It's actually
thank you. There you are. That one.
It is actually amazing, and if you think it's a monorail, you be crazy.
You be tripping.
Right. Okay. So moving on then, Brett, you have built a model of Ripsaw. I believe that the model itself was produced by printables.co.uk, I want to say. And then
Printables with a Z.
With a Z. And you've kind of fashioned this into something quite spectacular. So let's have a look. Talk us through it, Brett.
Okay, so I helped Printables with their logo and stuff like that, and I was given this very kindly by Stuart Barmer, who runs Printables, and it's basically a 3D printed model top spin that has been adapted to have similar theming aspects of Ripsaw. It originally started out as just a general kind of goldy brown coloured 3D print, and I thought, right, I really want to make this into as good as possible representation of Ripsaw. It would be really cool. It was one of my favourite flat rides, probably in the UK. I absolutely loved Ripsaw. I'm gutted that it left. So I started painting it. So I started painting all the little details and rust and stuff on there. Painted the little engines the motors on the side, yellow with the sides to it. And then once I roughly painted it all, I ended up thinking, oh, okay, rather than having this just stood on, just on my shelf, let's make the whole surroundings. Now, you can see in this photo here, I actually cut around it, and there's other bits of drawings just on the outside. That's because I was going to do the entire queue line and all the scenery behind it and everything, and then realized that I don't have a room big enough. So I cut it down to just the pool in front of it and the kind of just the area it sits in. So I thought, okay, I need to get the water fountains if I'm going to go this far. So I cut little tiny pieces of clear plastic, and covered them in hot glue, let it drip down. And then I painted the base of it red. But then I realized, looking back at photos, that it was only painted red in like 2013, something like that. So I wanted it to look like how it opened originally. So I added the wire that held up all the blue prongs sticking off the side of it, painted the water pool blue, and then I started making little tiny fence panels to go around the outside of it. And then what was really cool was I managed to get 3D printed was the back wall, the theming on the back. And
that is so cool.
Like it was all brick and everything. So that's pretty much the finished model. I've still got to do little touches up here and there, and I only finished the fences and stuff on it quite late last night, actually, whilst watching a film. So there's my Ripsaw model. I'm so happy with it. It's actually sat just there on my shelf.
That brings back so many memories of being hung above those bloody fountains and getting a squirt in the eye every now and then.
A squirt in the eye.
Sounds like my Friday nights. Absolutely.
I can confirm that is Sam's Friday nights. So yeah, the next thing I want to do now is I kind of want to do more. Right, I just think that has turned out so incredible. I've never done any scale model stuff before ever, so it was a bit of a new thing for me, and I absolutely loved doing it. And the finished product is just so good that I'm trying to think of what I can do next now.
It looks so cool. It's actually got me. I'm like, no, I'm going to try doing a model. You have to show me. Right? It's so cool, Brett. That is actually sick, and it looks identical. You must be so pleased.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with it. It looks so good. So I do have. I don't know if you ever remember Coaster Dynamics. It was the inverted roller coaster model. It had yellow track. And it actually runs. I've got one of those models tucked away in an attic somewhere. So maybe I'd do a section of Nemesis next, maybe.
Oh, cool.
Like just the first corkscrew or something like that.
Get the cranes on.
Yeah. So I'm tempted to look at that next. That would be quite cool, and have a little Forbidden Valley section in my office. Yeah, that's a model. If anyone wants to actually try it out for themselves, you can get these from Printables. They're actually on sale at the minute. I can't remember how much. They're around £45, something like that. Considering that they take like 60 to 100 hours to print all the individual pieces for it, well worth it. And if you can make something like this out of it, then I think they're incredible. So thank you so much for Printables for actually sending me one, and I'm really glad that I could make it look this good. So I am going to put together a video of how I made it with all the kind of more intricate details. But here's to the next one. I might do Nemesis next.